So when I was at Allen High School, most people don't know this story. So years ago, I was at Allen. My superintendent left Allen. She was a superintendent of the year in 1995 or 96, and she came to Scottsdale. And so was talking to me about, hey, you should come out here, and was talking about going to one of the high schools. I guess it's Schwarrell or Chaparral. I can't remember which one. So I came out for a trip, and part of that trip was I got to. She said, if you'll come out, I got a little surprise for you. I guess she had knew Coach, and so I got to come tour the facilities here as a high school coach, and then I got to meet Coach Cush, and obviously his reputation as being so tough and all that and hard, but he was just so gracious. I mean, he was. I just remember meeting and sitting there and took a picture with him and looked out the window and said, "Wow, what an incredible place this is," not knowing that years later I'd be the head coach here. I guess he reminds me a lot of the same style coach as Buddy Copeland, who was my guy that changed my life, was very similar. And I just enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed having coffee with him. I was fascinated by how sharp his, that football all the way to the end was he was very sharp and very, it was one of the last things that he held on to. So he just reminded me of the type of men that influenced my life, and the reason why I'm so blessed and getting to do what I'm getting to do today because of guys like and leaders and men like Coach Cush. So that's kind of my memories. I just really connected with him that way because and then he was I liked it because you didn't have to worry about what he thought. He'd tell you exactly what, and I like that. I like people like that. There's so much it's just so world's different today, and he was a guy that just very honorable as a coach, and really a guy that was very similar to a lot of the guys that influenced my life. Because my coaches were my dad, and so that's really why he meant a lot to me, and I cherish the opportunity to get around him. And people don't realize. I mean, even when he was sick, he'd travel to the away games. I mean, he would. And he was always. He didn't say much to me, when we would do well or win, but whenever we didn't do well or whatever, that he would say stuff, and he was just, and it wasn't, he was just different than everybody else because he understood, I guess, being a coach, he understood how it was. It wasn't like, warm and fuzzy stuff. It was, but it was also encouragement and how, and you know what, it made me feel good that I think he was pleased at how we did things, that he knew that we cared about the players, that we cared about doing it the right way, and that in this day and age, I mean, it's discipline and true discipline. Everybody talks about it, but true discipline, true toughness, accountability, those type things are things that are so very important in the educational process. What made me feel good is I think he felt like that, I know he felt like that we, tried to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. It's just under center, really big time, multiple tight ends. Old school, really. I mean, just old school, almost similar to kind of a blend between Stanford and what Boise's done in the past. So kind of a blend between Stanford and Washington's power game that they used to run when they were at Boise, but more in lines of what Stanford does. They're going to ground and pound and run play action pass, and they've had great tailbacks. I think they got great blocking backs. I mean, their fullback's a very good blocker, big guy. So they're very, very physical, and they're going to, they're a very good football team. They've had back-to-back 11-win seasons, been the conference champions 2 years in a row. Dominated, Houston last year in the bowl game. and Houston beat Oklahoma and Florida State. So this is I think on the West Coast, when you look at a team that really achieved. Obviously, people talk about Boise State, but San Diego State's been very consistent, and their MO is they're going to play great defense. They're going to do a great job in special teams, and they're going to pound the football. And so, obviously, a big time challenge for us, and very well coached. I've known Coach Long and competed against him, and I used to be an odd stack guy and run the similar defense, and so very, very well coached football team. When you look at their defense, you look at special teams, offense. They know what their identity is, and they're pretty ingrained in it and do a great job with it. Well, I obviously like it. I've studied a lot of. We've studied. They're back whenever he and I were doing it. When I was at West Virginia and Tulsa, there wasn't very many people doing it. There still isn't. He's evolved, so you're going to see him. Whereas we used to always be just 3 down, and now he's got some 4 down that he'll do. But basically attacking every down. They're going to create negatives. They're going to, I think I can't. What is it, like 48 or something like that interceptions or something in 2 years. That's their whole deal is forcing errors, and then they're very. It's a very complex deal, but it's all about creating negatives. And they've been doing it a while, so they understand what they're doing and do a good job with it. I like what they do. I think obviously till you get out there the first time, you just don't kind of know how you're going to be. We fit and did some really nice things. I thought we dominated the line of scrimmage. We had some mistakes and some mental mistakes and things like that. They had one long run, I guess about 30 yards or something like that. That was late. Like I said, I thought that the first and the third quarters were really, really fitted well. But we're capable of doing a good job. Just like they're going to pop a run. People are going to pop a run. Get it down. And so that's the thing we can correct is the angle of the safety, make sure they're shuffling on the backside, things like that. But, no, we definitely need to improve. But we also I like the fact that we made them earn things. And really, the game wasn't in hand. I mean, I never felt like the game was other than, I'd like to have had a bigger lead at halftime and all that. But I thought after the third quarter and the game was I thought was pretty much at hand after last night. I don't know if I'm going to have a different feeling about that. But I think that we have the capabilities of being a good solid run defense. We just got things we got to improve on. I mean, you don't know till you go out there and you play. And there's lots of good things and lots of things we got to work on and get better on. The key is to get better and come out and be markedly better in week 2. No. I just think you get better every day. I mean, I don't know if you bank it on that. Good luck. You got to get better. But I do think here's why people say that there is something to it, because kind of what happens, and I'm gonna tell you this is kind of things that is you go against each other so long, and you can't help be competitive, so you start adapting and doing things to be successful against your own group, and then you go out and somebody does something you hadn't seen. That's what happens in early weeks. And as well as you'll see people go out and be 6-1 or 5-1, and then they struggle down the stretch because it's too scheme driven, because you're just not going to trick people. You can only come up with so many trick plays. You've got to get good at what you're doing, have your identity, and establish it. But there's some merit. There's some merit to that, but I think that's why. Then you go, uh-oh, these are some things we need to work on. You work on it, and then I think you get a lot better. So you kind of get a gauge of where you're at.
What do you think the strengths and weaknesses are of Christian Chapman?
I think he's a really solid operator. He's a guy that manages the system and what they're doing and understands what they're doing. I think he does a solid job. Good quarterback. I mean, they are a tailback driven offense. I mean, they're going to hand the football off and pound it. And so, and he does a great job with his play fakes. He does a great job when the ball's not in his hand, carrying out his fakes and those type of things. So he's a solid player, and he does a good job running their offense. He's a championship quarterback. So.
Go back to what you said earlier. Do you believe the biggest improvement you see from your teams is usually from week 1 to week 2, just when you have that game experience?
Yeah, I think the reason. I mean, I think the key to winning is improvement every week. There's a lot of factors that come into it. You know, it's just hard to win. It don't matter who you're playing. I mean, you look and you watch throughout. You know, everything that everybody thought. Then they go like, "Golly, well, what is it?" And then things will settle down as you get those things corrected that you can get corrected. Obviously, staying healthy is a big part of it because you can't get better if you're not practicing and working on those things. So, you know, yeah, I think you'll see a lot of improvement on things. I mean, there's lots of things that we can improve upon from week 1 to week 2 that we can fix that are and work on and that we can get better at. That's not just about performance. Yeah, we've done it quite a bit. We did it, and that's not something. I mean, we're going to rotate and play people and all that stuff, but part of that is we want to have a mindset too as well about how we play. Will and Carl and Jackson and Davon. No, it's Davon. Yeah, those 4 guys played just about every snap in 2012 and 13. When we played Arizona, they played 97. Will Sutton played 97 snaps. That's not many people can do that. But one of the things you got to be able to do because of the no huddle, you got to be able to play. We would like to have, and we've got guys that can do that, and we will rotate guys. But when people are going fast and stuff like that, it's hard to sub. But we want to get guys that can play 10, 15. We got guys that can do that for sure. And it's not that we don't believe in anybody or anything like that. Coach wanted to make a statement with his guys, and that's what he did. And so I didn't see, what was impressive is I didn't see a lot of fatigue. I seen guys playing hard, and I think all 4 of our defensive linemen are in the top, right now in TFLs and sacks and being active. But we'll rotate guys and play guys and mix guys in, stuff like that. But, I think, what you ideally want to have is 3 tackles, 3 ends. That doesn't mean they all play the equal time. I don't see us taking and subbing out, and standing 90 and 1 on the sideline and having 2 other guys run in there. I think it'll be more of a rotation there. Guys that I got a great belief in Rennell. I got a great belief in George, and I think those guys will be guys that'll start rotating in there. Corey Smith been hurt, and that's kind of slowed his development down there and his ability to help us right now. So matter of fact, he wasn't even available for this game because of an injury. So, and then I think we got some guys that can come on. Abe Thompson's a guy that's had a good camp. But Cron Crump, he's not a guy that has to rest for many plays. I mean, so and you got to put your best guys on the field, and obviously we got to just like a receiver. Receiver, we had Ryan couldn't play. We've had some guys injured and hurt there, and we want to rotate those guys, keep those guys fresh because it's trying to keep them fresh down the stretch, but. Where that ends up, how many people we play, we played a few more running backs than we did there, but we want to be able to sub those guys accordingly. But their reps will be determined about, you want to get the best guys on the field, so that the reps will be determined by that. So that was, that's not something we haven't done before. We haven't subbed a linebacker or defensive back out period. Nobody really does that. We're defensive linemen, and we'll roll those guys a little bit and start to work those other guys in there. Toughness. Mm-hmm. Some guys, that might be the case. I don't know. I mean, he runs the personnel over there. I mean, he runs the defense, and I've instilled and trusted him in doing that, and so he can do it how he wants to. And I think that one of the things I think we've established is a toughness and a discipline about it, and an accountability about things. Because our standards, like I say, are different than other people's standards. There's guys that you have to earn the right to speak for the team. You have to earn the right to represent the team. You have to earn the right to step on the field and get across the white line. So I think that might be a little bit of part of the thinking. They'll do that all year. Being honest, for the first game with the new tradition with Tillman statute, I wanted the captains to be in with the team. I wanted them to get the opportunity to do that. And then, obviously Brady's extremely smart, intelligent guy, sharp. I don't like to have a lot of different guys doing the coin toss, so I kind of just selected him to do that for me. And then Framboni's a guy that I just think, same regard, got two of our smarter guys out there that can't mess up that coin toss. So that's how we're doing it. That's how we're doing it. So they've got it down pretty good. That doesn't mean our captains had the option to go out with them, but they're handling that for me. But the captains could have went out if they wanted to, but they wanted to come out through the Tillman Tunnel and participate in the new tradition. It was pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I think our guys it was really a neat deal. Pretty special. I think it's one of the most unique run-throughs or whatever in the country, run-outs or whatever. I think it's pretty cool. Well, the cool thing is that you guys don't really get to see is that we have the big screen in the locker room. So, and I'm not believe it or not, I don't give a very long pregame talk. It's about 30 seconds. And we do a little talk but for the last 3 minutes in the locker room, we have this video of Pat doing his thing. And so it's interesting. It was interesting to watch our players. That's what I said when I was speaking at the deal. He just has a way, without saying anything, to ignite people. So I was watched it like we were running his highlights of just passionate highlights, and for about 3 minutes. And as they came on, you'd see guys look, and then they would stand up, and then there'd be more guys standing up, and then you see guys moving around and oohing and ahhing, and it was pretty cool, So we, and then we obviously, whenever we'll break it down, we come around the tunnel, and then right when you walk out of the tunnel, there's the former players that line the tunnel. It's pretty cool, and so and then coming out, and it was pretty cool. I think that tradition will be there for a very, very long time, and very deserving.
Last one, Jeff.
Yeah, I thought both coordinators did what they needed to do to win the game. There's obviously things that we need to improve on and get better on, but anytime that you sit and you say, okay, hey, what are our objectives? Our objectives, number one, is to be a disciplined football team, and a team that plays with great discipline. And that starts with owning the ball. So we had 100% ball security. We had really +3 if you take the interception on the 2-point play. So we accomplished one of the most important goals. Secondly, we were 50% on TFL sacks and negatives, but also we had no penalties on defense, no penalties on special teams. We had one penalty on offense that cost us 30 yards. So see, that's a big penalty. So I think from a discipline standpoint, both of our guys have command of their guys and are doing a great job. And there's a lot of things, offensively, when you go out there that, you see that are new. And I thought he did a really good job at halftime of coming back in. Also too, coach is not, he's been he's been a guy in the box most of the time. So when on the field, it's a little bit different. It's a little harder to see. And so I think we did, obviously you could tell in the third quarter we came out and he made some great adjustment, made a great call. I thought he made a great call on because we'd had like 3 or 4 times we'd been 2nd and 10, I think. Like the 4 previous series we'd been 2nd and 10 or something like that, and he come out and took a shot. And even when he did it, he said, hey, I'm going to take a shot right here. And I'm saying, boy, you've been 2nd and 10 here. If he said, God, I'm telling you, right here, I need to take a shot. I said, well, that's do what you do. Go with your gut. So, I think he's a very hard worker. He's very intelligent. He played quarterback. But for his first time calling plays in a while, probably. I don't know. I know he's been very, very involved in play calling, but doing it yourself is a little bit different. I thought he did a nice job.